那我们这个 Dutch 到了，然后就请他呢，因为他是这个 Tax Lien、Tax Deed 方面的专家啊，然后他的主要的这个专长呢是去拍房子，就把房子低价市场价的40%拿下来，然后再这个翻新以后再出租出去，这样的一个过程，然后他自己也做了一个基金，做了一个 REIT，然后让投资者，因为有一些朋友会提到说，哎，我这个过程我不熟悉，然后我想要去参与，怎么做？然后呢，这个 REIT 这个基金呢，就会让你非常方便的能够 passive 的去投资这些通过欠税房地产来盈利的这样的项目。
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So the translator's coming up. So Young is starting to talk about me when everybody starts looking at me in the back of the room. So. We have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I'll try and pause as often as I can to allow the translator to share with you guys, and I'll try to hit the most important things. But I also want to give you some time at the end to ask questions. So, RAD Diversified REIT is who we are. How many of you have either heard of us or invested with us? Raise your hands. Okay. So there's several of you that have invested with us. And what I'm going to be sharing today is how we've done incredible returns, and we've had some incredible investments during the last couple years. How during the middle of the pandemic, when there were other real estate companies or other investment funds freezing investments or not honoring withdrawals from investors, we did a 36.72% return in 2020. And this year, we're on pace to break 40%.
Oh, yeah.
You can clap, it's good. I think we're very good at real estate. But there's kind of a perfect storm in the world right now that takes our very good and makes it better. It's like the ingredients for the best meal you've ever eaten in your life. I can't read that. Go ahead. So I'll try to stand to the side so that you guys can see it, okay? But I know what it says. Now when I'm trying to tell jokes but it's being translated, I don't know how good they are. So I like them more because they laugh more than you guys did. So not only did we do a 36.7% return, but I wanted my investors to feel safe. I wanted them to feel secure. So we did a COVID-19 amendment to the SEC for a 5% guarantee. Now, people sometimes get confused between the guarantee and the 36.7% return. The 5% is in the worst case scenario. Let's say things go completely wrong, the world goes haywire, there's World War III, our governments don't like each other, whatever could happen, right, is the 5% guarantee no matter what. The 36.72% return is what we made. And so there's the guarantee, but then we made so much more than the guarantee. Now when I say I believe we're on pace, right, to hit 40% this year, what I mean is every investment, every deal, every real estate transaction we've already purchased. The things are already in place where we're going to make those kind of returns. Now I have to say the red tape or the bureaucracy quotes now, which is past performance doesn't not indicate future performance. And all investments have risk. But what you'll see today is that I try to balance risk and reward so that if one of our investments succeeds more, another one of our investments makes money, and if another investment succeeds less, another one of our investments succeed more. And so I try to create a balance or counterbalance within our investment portfolio so that we make money even if things go bad. And what I mean things go bad, right? We have inflation right now. We have the pandemic. We have the second pandemic, and I think there'll be a third pandemic that's going to come. We believe that, climate change, and we believe government's not getting along, right? And those kind of things, those are things that go wrong. And I know it's not so much commonplace in China to think about like survivalists and end of times or the fall of governments and those kind of things. But in America, it is a fairly common and multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, so let's keep going, because if I keep talking, we'll never get through any of the slides. So, what makes RAD elite, right, is that one of our core philosophies is that we thrive during bad economic times. So our fundamental real estate core value is that if there's a real estate crash, an economic crash, a pandemic that happens, that we make more money. And so during good times, we do very well. But during bad times, our real estate actually makes more money. An example, in difficult economic times, office space and retail do really bad. Farms, apartments, self-storage do very well during difficult economic times. And so location becomes incredibly important to us, and the types of real estate are always very, very important to us. And this is our Diamond 4 method. And so the first of those Diamond 4, like we said before, is to thrive during difficult economic times, during bad economic times, right? And so I look at this concept all the time, and I see things that other people don't see. In 2019, I saw that there was an economic recession coming, and there's all kinds of videos for everything I'm about to say. In March of 2020, I told all of my tribe members, all of my followers, that the pandemic was going to shut down our government, shut down our businesses, shut down our restaurants, shut down our public forums, and everybody was like, that's never going to happen in America. And I said, it's going to happen here. I said markets are going to crash worldwide. I said that we're going to end up having riots and protests in the United States, and it's going to change how things work here forever. And at the same time, like my focus, like my laser focus had to be, how am I going to first protect my family? Then it was, how am I going to protect my employees and my team and the people that helped me build this great business that we've built. But what I knew is one of the best ways to protect them is to protect my investors. It's for my investors to make money, to feel safe and secure, and feel good about what we're doing. I am always collecting information. I never stop collecting information. I never stop learning. I never stop collecting data. I never stop understanding what's going on in the world. And I looked at what was going on, the supply chain breaking down. And I saw Bill Gates buy $600 million in farmland. And I saw Jeff Bezos buy even more. And so I bought farmland too. But I'm better at it than they are. And the reason I'm better at it is because I built my business from scratch. Invested in real estate, investing in houses, flipping houses, turning houses, doing the things you see on TV. That's what we do in reality. A great example is we're currently moving to bigger new offices for my business. We've gone from 28 people in 2020 to over 50 people in 2021, and we'll be over 100 people as a company in 2022. I don't say this to impress you, but I want to show you what I do and why we're elite, right? When we look at anything. So when I looked at offices in our area, I took the 2 cities where we may move our offices to. I spreadsheeted every office space available for lease and every single office space available for purchase. I looked at time on market, I looked at dollars per square foot, and I found out who the bad realtors were. And those outliers helped me find what are the best deals, what are the good deals for both purchase and lease. And so instead of paying $30,000 a month for office space, I'll pay for better office space at $20,000 a month. So now do the math. $10,000 a month times 5 years, right? That's $120,000 a year in savings times 5 years is $600,000 that I'll save our company and I'll save our investors, right? As a part of running that company, because that's how I look at things. And so when I look at purchasing, when I look at real estate, when I look at buying, I use the same type of mentality, which is I take all of the information, I find the outliers, I find the best deals, I find the best investments. Now, that's the easy way for me. That's simple, that's automatic. What we do that goes so far beyond that, so like the more advanced methods are when we do advertising and marketing to bring in deals to us, when we use technique and tools to get better deals. And so I do what's called value-added real estate. I find great properties with bad owners. And so we take something that's broken and we fix it, we make it better. We add square footage, we find the profit margins through those things, and our farms, we add income to them that never existed before, we add profit center to them that never existed before. To get the kind of returns we get, it's never just the one thing, it's all of the pieces. It's location, it's adding profit, it's adding value to it, it's adding, finding the best deals. So these are the things that like create that perfect scenario to create the kind of returns we've been able to do. So I've talked a little bit about location today, but location in real estate has changed forever because of the pandemic. When you study world history, when you study population migration, when you study economics and you study this worldwide, in the past, famines, economic recessions, people move to the cities. During the pandemic, people are moving out of the cities and people are moving to different locations than ever before. And then also because of medical beliefs, right? Vaccinated versus not vaccinated, right? Mask versus not mask, and just people's personal beliefs, there's a change in population migration as well. 3 years ago, nobody thought about state versus state rights in the United States. Like California versus Texas or Florida versus... But now how you live life, or the way you choose to live life, can very much be determined in the United States by where you live for the first time in my lifetime. And I say this not because I care, because politics are politics. I can't change them. But I have to know what they are so I can make correct investments. I always like to know what the rules of the game are before everyone else. One of the strategies that I do as well, or I believe better than anyone else here in the United States, and I believe I'm in the US, I'm the leading expert in this subject, is tax lien and tax deed investing. I don't think there's anyone else better at it. I don't think anyone else has done more deals or built a larger portfolio than us in this industry. And so on real estate, when people pay their taxes on their real estate, they get to keep the real estate. But in the United States, if people don't pay their taxes on their real estate, they'll go through a foreclosure. And so just like how Young and I connect, right? We both believe in the tax lien and tax deed business greatly. We are uniquely positioned when the moratoriums lift, the foreclosure moratoriums, the eviction moratoriums.
OK， 它就是越多欠税的房产，或者是越多没有人付这个钱，它就是专注于这种房产。
To win big. So when one of the things that we're doing is we're building up our cash and our money so that we have more leverage and more of an ability to buy than anyone else when the foreclosure moratoriums lift. Our returns this year are already set in stone. Right now, I'm preparing for 2022, and what we're going to do in 2023 is the moves and the decisions that I'm making right now are for that time. I already know what the returns are going to be this year. So for us, what's really important, right, is what's next. Like I said before, the survivalist industry in America is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The Survivalist Project started for me personally. My wife, who's never been scared of a thing a day in her life, said we may need to live further away from the city and we may need to leave California. And I took that to heart because she's the person, when we went to China, that thinks everywhere is safe and I have to watch out for her. But that was the same with Hong Kong or Malaysia or Bali or anywhere else we traveled. That's just how my wife. And so for me, for her to have a fear or have something, I said I need to pay attention. So I started looking at farms and properties off the grid, and I dove down what I call a rabbit hole. And then I saw what Bezos and Gates did with farmland, And I said, like anything in the life, I'm going to turn this into an investment. And then I shared what I was doing with our investors and with what we call our inner circle of investors, which is our high-end investors. And hundreds of them said they want a place like this too. And so we bought our first farm, and because of the Survivalist Project, that farm made an extra $500,000 this year already. So in commercial real estate, $500,000 extra income, right, is worth so much more when it comes to equity. On a 10 cap, that's $5 million in extra equity if you have regular income into a property.
5 million property.
On a 10 cap,
10% return.
that's an extra $5 million in equity.
OK，如果是10%的回报率，在500万美金的项目上，它就相当于是Can you repeat again?
I would just say the valuation is an extra $5 million.
OK，就是说它的额外的价值是500万美金。
And that's very conservative.
然后这个是非常保守的。
Because in the U.S., typically a 5 cap is more likely.
在美国一般的投资回报率是5%左右。
And so it would make it worth $10 million more.
所以就让这个项目比之前更有价值，然后相当于值1000万美金。
And I'll show you examples so you guys can see.
他会给你看一个举例。
So the first property that I'm going to share with you guys is the Jefferson Property. Now, I'm going to say the numbers, but I don't think she needs to translate. You guys can read the numbers. Am I correct? Okay. So the first property is the Jefferson Street property. This is a really common deal for us. We purchased it for $204,000. The rehab on it's $125,000. The after repair value is $425,000. The profit's $96,000. Our buy-in into the property is $60,000. It's 150% return. Now the profit is so high because of our relationship with banks and being good at real estate. We take investor money for a small part of it, and banks give us the money to buy the property and to rehab the property. So though on this property we only put $60,000 in, we made $90,000. Who wants deals like that?
谁想要做这样的项目？
Everybody want deals like that? When you invest in a REIT like us, you're doing deals like that through us. And this is a very special position we're in. Because as an individual, it's almost impossible to be able to do what we do because of our size. But the really, really big funds, the multi-billion-dollar funds, are never willing to work the way we do. Most of them don't understand real estate the way we do. They went to school in New York City. They're on Wall Street. They're in Silicon Valley. They didn't build their empire like we did by doing real estate. Our competitors in the space make 9%. They make 15%. They make 16% at the most. And the reason is because they're lazy. And I look at who they're hiring as companies. They're hiring this analyst and this money raiser or this technology person. I'm hiring real estate people. I have people training in Philadelphia, Tampa, Houston, Boise. So then we can open up the next city and the next city and the next city as we continue to grow. Okay, let's rapid pace look at some more deals.
我们看一下更多的一些案例。
This is another deal we did in New Jersey, right? And that's 33 Covington, $160,000 purchase, $55,000 rehab, $255,000 after repair value, $45,000 profit on a $42,000 investment. Is that pretty amazing?
Yeah.
Now I've had people look at these deals and be like, well, then why is your return only 36.72%? So these returns there's a lot of costs that get chewed up in them. There's a lot of loan costs, realtor costs,
经纪人的费用。
and other miscellaneous costs just in the scope of doing business. But we also spend more money to advertise and market to bring more deals to us than anyone else. Our marketing budget for bringing in deals and bringing in investors and things will eclipse $500,000 per month. Can you see how important it is to me to bring in the best deal? The next one, 2000 South Salford. We bought it for $21,000. We rehabbed it for $120,000. The ARV is $189,000. This was 3 years ago. Today, this property is worth almost $300,000. That's why location is important. The next property is Pelham Road. It's just a big mansion. How many of you want a mansion for $450,000 though? It's amazing. The rehab it's on, it's $150,000. The after repair value is $846. The profit's $240,000. We only had to put $90,000 in. These are the kind of deals we do again and again. The next property is Carlton, $43,000 purchase, rehab $15,000, $125,000 after repair value. Have any of you ever heard somebody who just talks about what they do? Have you ever seen those people? Always, right? And they suck, right? Yeah. I don't just talk about what we do, right? I'll give you the addresses. Go look them up on your phone. Go Google them, right? I believe in complete transparency with our investors. I will tell you everything that's happening. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? And in 10 deals, right? One is going to be a home run, and one is going to be a disaster. And the other 8 are going to fall in the middle. And for us, a disaster only means time. We'll still make money from it. So let's keep going. The next property is Cornelius, $59,000 purchase, $15,000 rehab, $185,000 ARV. These are all deals we've completed. These are deals that we've already done. These are the deals that we are bringing in every single day. Last month we did 14 deals just like these. Just like these, 1 month, 14 deals. The next deal is 23rd Street, $17,000 purchase, $5,000 rehab, $85,000 after repair value. The next property is really common during the pandemic. Properties that are mid-construction and never got finished. We're looking for these all the time because a lot of rehabbers, a lot of contractors shut down during the pandemic, and a lot of investors didn't know how to handle those things. We did. Because we take care of our people also took care of us during the pandemic. Our rehabs were done, our construction crews worked, and they were careful, but at the same time, they got things done. Because right now, you have 2 choices. Shut down, or do it. And I know all of you in here are people who do it because you're here. So this is our farm, and this is pretty amazing. 2,000 acres of beautiful farmland, and the year before we purchased it, right, the property made $45,000 in income. This year, we'll make close to $1 million in income from this property. In income. Not value, income. This farm combined with 3 different purchases. We spent $7.1 million. The current valuation is over $18 million. We sold 160 acres of it for $1.2 million, making a $550,000 profit 1 month after purchase. That's pretty good. So I'm just going to jump through some of these things just because of time. But these are our current returns. This isn't projections. This isn't what could be someday. This is now. I say this because I take a lot of pride, and I'm also very competitive in what we do. Every deal, every quarter, every investment, I take very intensely because I'm the largest investor in the REIT. So my money's at work just like your money is. So this is me. I mean, you guys know enough about me. As a short bio, I've been doing real estate for over 15 years. But I was also born into a family of real estate entrepreneurs. So for many years, I said I'm not going to do real estate. But some things you realize you're born to do. And no matter how hard I wanted to do something else, it just kept pulling me back in. And then I surrendered and I said, I guess this is what I'm meant to do. And when I accepted that, everything started to take off. And then I fell in love with the art of the deal. I fell in love with real estate in a way that's very hard to explain. I drive down the street and I'm analyzing numbers on everything I see. And then I'm on my computer and I start analyzing neighborhoods and cities and then states and then locations, and it just never, the feed never stops for me. And years ago, I was the only one doing it. And now it takes 50 people to take what's in here and implement it in the world, and it's about to be 100. But just as equally, my business partner, Amy, an incredible operator, managing people,
管理人员
working with our investors,
和投资者一起合作，
taking my ideas and making them reality.
把他的想法记下来，然后让它成为现实。
Because how many of you realize that anybody who has vision also needs somebody who can do? Now, we're both parents, we're both adoptive parents, and we both have families. And we've grown tremendously in business the last couple of years. But our lifestyles really don't change.
但是他们的生活方式不怎么改变。
If you've ever seen one of those commercials or YouTube videos where the guy's jumping on his helicopter or jumping on his airplane or driving his Ferrari, to me those are just toys.
对于他来说，那些只是玩具。
What excites me is building a $1 billion company. What excites me is 60+% return since we started the REIT. What excites me is 36% last year. What I fight for is to hit 40% this year. And in the future, when we become a publicly traded stock, our investors get paid even more. And so for me, that's just what makes me alive. Like I feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my soul, I feel it with my people and my teams, and they feel it too. The people that work for our company are just as excited about that mission as I am. Now, we have always had a fondness for Chinese investors. It's not something I looked for, it's not something I tried to create, it's something that just happened. Alan Pan is one of our managing directors. He's one of our first investors. And over the years, he just got more and more involved. And we actually had some materials translated into Chinese before Young found us, before Young connected for us, before Young came to us. We had a lot of Canadian Chinese investors, but then Young Ming came along and just took it to a completely different place. And all of you should just have great gratitude for how he wants to protect you, how he wants to look out for you, because he really did his due diligence. I mean, he just really got under the hood and got deep with us before he ever said a word to anyone. So for me, the team of people that take care of you is more important than what you can ever do yourself. I spent a lot of time setting up the protections for our investors. The right insurances, the right lawyers, the right people to make sure that our investments and make sure that our money is always safe. So we have our in-house accountants that do accounting. Then we have outside auditors.
然后他们有从外面第三方请来的审计的人员，
Check everything they do.
去检查每一步他们做的事情。
Then we submit those audited financials to the SEC. And these things are really important for all of you when you're doing investing, to know that you're doing your due diligence, to know what's behind, right? There is lots of deals out there in the world. And when economies are doing good, you'll see more different types of deals that are out there. But to make sure you're making good investments, you got to dig deeper. To make sure you're making good investments, you got to take your time, but then make good decisions when the opportunity is there in the moment. This is just part of our team, and I just kind of share that with you. But I recommend go to our website, kind of get to know our team. Even some of our team does videos and shares about the company, and I think it's just really good to get to know who we are, because I think when you're making investments, I feel like that's my money, and I want to know exactly what's going on with it. It's very important to me.